Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. New videos every week, motivational Mondays, weird Wednesdays, and of course, your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness. So if you don't want to miss out on any of it, you better make sure to click subscribe, hit that notification button, and make sure to leave me a comment so that I know that you were here. I truly appreciate all of you that watch. And on this episode of your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness, I'm in here checking trail cameras, even though they've only been in here for a week. What can I say? I'm impatient, but you never know what else I'm going to throw at you. Not a whole lot of deer activity right here, but I did get one little buck on this trail camera, so that's better than nothing. I suppose it goes without saying that when you're using a machete, you want to make sure that you keep all parts of your anatomy outside of your swing and cut low to the ground. That way you can actually use large bundles when it comes time to move the brush out of the way. I'm cutting these weeds out of the bottom of my Christmas tree blind so that there's nothing to rustle. And now I'm moving all the accumulated vegetative matter out of my way so that I have a more silent sitting position when I'm set up in my blind. Right now I'm in my Christmas tree blind just framing up my shots because I want to know where I need to get my camera positioned so that I can simply sit down and set up when I'm actually hunting. So this tree right here in the middle of the screen is 17 yards away. So anything in front of that tree, that's where I want the deer to be. If it's on the other side of that tree, no deal. Those 3 trees that are growing out, actually it's 4 little trees that are growing out of one stump, over to here. Anything here to here, that's my shooting window. That's where I want the deer to be. Under 20 yards, and if it's not inside of that window, I don't care about it. Stopping to pull another trail camera card. So it seems that this spot here is a lot more of a productive spot than the other spot. Holy crap, that's a big buck. So we'll see how this spot works out. Of course, I've only got one spare trail camera card, so that one's the one that's going in this camera here. Most of the deer activity is nocturnal. However, it's shocking to me to see a buck of this caliber on my trail camera. But the fact that I'm getting these deer in their natural paths tells me that I'm actually starting to zero in on their travel routes. This may be the year that I break my whitetail curse. But if I don't, that's the way hunting is. Life ain't like the pornos. Hunting ain't like the TV shows. Now time to pull the card off of my blind that I built. Ironically enough, it did not end up being an issue that I didn't have a spare trail camera card because I forgot to turn the camera on last time, and they only work if you remember to turn them on. So I've got it turned on this time. So that's disappointing, but at least I didn't have to worry about not having a spare card for the trail camera. I have a mortal fear of wounding game, and so I practice obsessively from all positions. You would think that for as shot to shit as my 3D targets get over the years of using them, that I'd be a much better shot or a much more confident shot. However, it is important to set aside one broadhead to make sure that you can actually have a practice arrow. Right now I'm using nocturnal nocks and Ashby broadheads. The reason that that is important is while a good broadhead will fly the same as a field point, your sight picture is going to be different with the blades hanging off the tip of your arrow. This is my designated practice broadhead. I shoot Ashby. They're a 315 grain single bevel broadhead. They're Rockwell hardened to 58. I'm also using a 100 grain brass insert inside of my full length FMJ 340. Shield cut feathers, Three Rivers cresting wrap, and a nocturnal nock. Also, as you can probably tell, these shield cut feathers have got the corners knocked off of them. Designated this as my practice arrow so that it doesn't end up in my hunting quiver. Now, single bevel broadheads are very easy in technique to resharpen. One of the main problems is the Ashby broadhead is super hard. It's a 58 Rockwell. So it makes things a little bit tedious and take forever to touch these up on a regular hardware store stone, which is why I've got a diamond file here. And it's just like sharpening a lawnmower blade. The edge on the bottom is the edge that I'm going to be working on. Not going to hardly touch this side of the broadhead at all, or this face of the broadhead at all. So I'm putting my thumb on the face of the broadhead that's facing me, and I'm just going to draw that out down the coarse side of this diamond file, drawing away from me, but pulling toward the edge. That way I'm going to create a burr, and I'm just following that bevel down. Now, as you can see, we've got a micro bevel starting right here, where I have shined up the immediate edge. Now I'm just feeling on this face that is facing me for a burr to see when the edge starts rolling over. So I can feel a burr starting. So now I'm going to turn over to the fine side, and as you saw, I turned that broadhead over, and I'm just going to do a couple of really quick strokes on this side of the face in order to knock that burr off and square it up. Now, still working on the same bevel, I'm still on the fine side again. I'm going to take a couple of quick slices pulling toward the edge. And there, that bevel is sharp. Now I'm going to flip back over to the coarse side here. Thumb on the face of the broadhead that's facing me, and just follow the bevel. And I'm going to do that until I start to be able to feel a burr raising on the side that is facing me. So now I'm going to flip it over to the fine side and give a couple of strokes just to knock that burr off. And then I'm going to give a couple of strokes on that bevel on the fine side just to kind of smooth everything out. And now my practice broadhead is back to being wicked sharp. Now, I didn't bother resharpening or touching up this broadhead because obviously, as you can see, it's factory new. Ironically enough, as I said, this is very much like sharpening a lawnmower blade, where you follow the bevel out and then knock the burr off the back side. Because it's a nice fall evening and my neighbors decided to mow their yard, so it's a free country and y'all can just deal with it. And you can do this on a $3 hardware stone like this, but it's going to take a lot longer. And then flip it over, knock the burr off. Now I'm going to go to the fine side, follow the bevel, knock the burr off, and that popped pretty wicked sharp. So now I've got to do the other face of the broadhead. Now I tend to sharpen my broadheads obsessively, even if they don't need sharpened, because it seems to me like it's kind of part of the ritual of the hunt to screw around with your equipment. So I've got the burr raised on that side. Now I'm going to knock the burr off that other face. Flip her over to fine. Polish the bevel on the fine side. Then take any burr that's left off with a couple of quick strokes. That was 3. And we popped that edge right out. As you can see, it's all shiny there. It's all shiny there. Now you may be wondering why you haven't seen any dove hunting videos out of me. Now I do actually have a sunflower patch for dove hunting here at the end of this bean field. And the sunflowers did come up along with the rest of the bird mix. But you haven't seen any dove hunting videos out of me simply because there don't seem to be hardly any doves to be had. Also, it would be really, really difficult to try and solo film a dove hunt because they're really small birds and they fly really fast. I went to Walmart yesterday with the intention of getting some SD cards for my trail cameras so that I had a couple of spares, but this tripod caught my eye, and because I'm not made of money, I decided that I was going to get a tripod instead of the SD cards. But it's got a good smooth turning head on it, so hopefully this is going to help me film some real nice hunting footage this year. It's very lightweight and seems to be well made thus far. But my old tripod was really banged up and actually pretty heavy. So hopefully this Black Web's tripod is going to be worth it, because God knows I paid through the nose about it. $60 for a tripod. I have the luxury of being a YouTube bow hunter, which means that while I have to dance within the community guidelines of YouTube, I don't have to please sponsors, and I don't have to worry about filling in TV airtime. Because I would never say that the outdoor TV bow hunter would out and out lie. Because the fact is, as a viewer, there's a lot of tricks of the trade and open secrets of hunting on film that you don't pick up on until you actually start trying to hunt on film. When you have a finite supply of airtime, you're not going to fill it up with unsuccessful hunts. And most of these TV outdoorsmen were incredibly skilled hunters long before they ever got near a camera. Me, on the other hand, I started out filming my hunts as soon as I started deer hunting. And so it's been a school of hard knocks all the way up my entire outdoor industry career. The trouble with making a hunting look effortless by having week after week of successful outdoor TV hunts is that people that don't actually hunt watch this and don't respect it, because when it's perceived as effortless, they don't perceive any effort being put into it. It gets even worse in the game of perception when you're dealing with outfitted hunts. Now you see, apparently the bone collector watches Tex Grebner Outdoors, which is very humbling for me and actually kind of funny, because I've spent years making fun of the bone collector with my phrase of, life ain't like the pornos, hunting ain't like the TV shows. But while I was at the ATA show in 2017, I saw the bone collector crew filming a piece, and I purposefully avoided them because I didn't know if I was going to have anything nice to say, because I find myself online constantly compared to these incredibly skilled hunters that tend to have quite ideal circumstances on which to hunt. So I avoided the bone collector crew all ATA show. Then I get home and come to find out that Michael Waddell is tweeting at me saying half the people in this industry wish that they were as tough as Tex Grebner. And I didn't really know what to think of that until I actually messaged him directly on Twitter and found out that they actually watch my stuff on the Bone Collector bus during whitetail season. So it kind of goes to show you that no matter who you are, there's always somebody dreaming of being you. Because as a YouTube bow hunter, I don't have to fill in TV airtime. I am at liberty to completely show my failures, and I don't have any sponsors that I need to worry about pleasing or looking good for. Now, I'm not digging at the bone collector. What I'm saying is, freedom is expensive, because I fund everything myself. And I have been filming my hunts as long as I've been whitetail hunting. And my life does not work like TV. With that being said, it's not like I would turn down the opportunity to hunt with an outfitter. Hopefully, they're going to stroll right past me in this brushed-in area, and I'll be able to win the high-stakes game of whack-a-mole. Because completely truthfully, while, as I said, there are a huge amount of open secrets and tricks of the trade in the outdoor industry that when I first started, nobody actually told me about. For instance, like hanging your deer stands really, really high so that you and your cameraman can get away with doing a whole bunch of movement without spooking deer. Let me put it this way. If you actually pay attention to some of those impact shots on outdoor television, you're going to see that the arrow comes in at a really steep angle. When I first started, I was also doing the real tree whisper up in the deer stand, which doesn't really work. Like I say, I would never say that the outdoor industry straight up lies, but there is definitely a lot of staged filming that goes on in order to build the story after the drama has already taken place. It's just a fact. I've still got a little bit of time before deer season opens, but I just got back from Walmart picking up my either sex and my antlerless archery whitetail tags. And I know that there's deer on the property traveling through, and there's only so many trails that they can actually use. So no matter how much money you spend on gear, and no matter how much you think you've got your animals on your property figured out, it's my opinion that it ends up being like a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole. But I've got a little while before deer season starts, and I'm about as ready as I'm gonna get. Maybe this year will break my whitetail curse. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at SOETacticalgear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those who serve in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.